Hello, I'm Pat Gilley, and I am running for the position of the Caddo Parish Sheriff for this year. Some of you may remember me. Back in 2020, I ran for the district attorney for this parish. There were over 32,000 of you that granted me the privilege of having your vote, and so I'm back again. I think the thing that I am most focused on is the 37 years that I've lived here. My husband and I moved here when he was assigned to Barksdale Air Force Base. He retired as a lieutenant colonel in JAG, and we raised our 3 children here, and when he retired in 1990, we opened our law office. So for the last 35 years, I've been out there practicing in a small mom-and-pop law office where we've met thousands of people of this jurisdiction, Bossier Parish, Caddo, Red River, DeSoto, Webster, and I got to know the everyday kind of people. We did not have the affluent clients, corporations. We took care of the everyday folks. And so because of that, I was able to not only meet a lot of people, but I was able to find out what are the problems here. What are these people upset about? What are the civil problems? What are the criminal problems? What are the agencies of our community doing to help these people? And I think that was the main thing that when I contemplated running for sheriff, that convinced me there's really nobody else in this community that I know of that has the background I have. I'm also very much into research. I went to the United States Supreme Court when everyone told me it was a foolish thing to do, but I knew my client was treated badly by the local courts. And so I did take that chance, and despite everybody's comments, I wrote the brief, I argued it before the 9 justices of the United States Supreme Court, and I won a 6-3 verdict. Happened to be announced on the 42nd wedding anniversary of my husband and I, so it was quite a special day. But I love research, and that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months, is research. I think that that's the thing that separates me from the other 5 candidates. I have got a 12-foot table, conference table, filled with binders, files, folders. I have kept up with what's been going on in the country, not just in Shreveport or Caddo, to see what are these cities trying. We're not the only ones with problems. What's working in these other communities, what's not? And I have so much evidence to support not just my theories, but I have gone to the research folks from the, the really brainy universities and whatever that know all the scientific ways of doing studies to research things, and they can prove, the successfulness. I'd love to have the chance to talk to the people of the community about that, but there's really, I don't know any way to do it. But I'm grateful that I at least can make this statement that they're out there. If anyone asks me why I have the opinion I do, I have facts to support it. Without a doubt, all 6 of us candidates agree it's the violent crime. That's the problem that we have, that everyone is most concerned about. And it is something that is not new. I've been here for 37 years. We had violent crime back in when I first was practicing law here in the 1980s and 1990s. All the gangs, a lot of gang violence. We had over 90 deaths in those years. I was on the Bottoms Boy case. I was one of the 12 lawyers that had the bleachers in the courtroom while we tried the Bottoms Boys. So I know what it's like to have a lot of violence, worse than we have right now. And I noticed that over these last 30 years, sadly, there hasn't been a big improvement in what the law enforcement, the criminal justice system, none of our agencies have done anything to get us out of the 20th century and into the 21st century. We're trying to create a new, get rid of those old problems, but we haven't seen anybody talk about any new solutions. That's where I come in. I have the new solutions. I have had this book, carried it around for 3 years when we marched for Black Lives Matter. I had this book and I carried it with me. I talked to all the law enforcement fellows and gals that I saw along the way, and I said, please read this book. Let's talk about it together. We do not have to keep hearing these same things happening all the time. We can fix this, but we have to work together. In my campaign for DA, I said the problem is nobody talks to each other. Everybody has their own fiefdom. They have their own little thing that they want to protect. We have to talk together, the DA, the judges, the court system, the sheriff, the chief of police. We can't fix this if we're all working in our own little silo. We have to talk together. And that's what I would bring to it. I have so many ideas from my research that would bring us into the 21st century. We have a lot of things that work. For example, people talk about, oh, the cameras are the answer. They'll take facial recognition and that'll help. Well, it sounded like a good idea, but the research is, no, it doesn't work. New Orleans played that game, and they found out that in 9 months they didn't have a single case that made a difference in, with 1,000 a day photos. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I have gotten a lot of research that shows, yes, this will work, and that's what I would like to do, is try some of the hotspot policing is one of the really prominent methods that has come to the forefront. That's something I would like to do. So, given the chance, I would like to talk with the other folks that are in positions to make decisions to work together. That is one of the most serious issues that I see. We're spending way too much time with law enforcement, both SPD and Caddo Parish Sheriff's folks, on these 911 calls that they don't have any business being involved with. They don't have the training for de-escalation of situations. They don't have the training to know how to deal with people who are suffering from substance abuse or the mental health problems, quality of life problems, people that have no home, people that are hungry. They just aren't trained in that. It's not their fault. That's the whole problem with the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Prater said it on June the 30th. There's no accountability. There's no transparency. The people don't know what's going on. He was exactly right. And the problem is that there is no standard, no set of standards, no way of the supervisors knowing how well the troops out in the field are doing. And so that's why one of the first things I would do was to get the CALEA folks. This is a commission that deals with the accreditation of law enforcement agencies across the country. They come in, and after 2 years of analyzing all the different aspects of any individual town that they're working with, and they'll set up standards so that everybody will know what their job is, how it's supposed to be done, and the supervisors will know whether or not their folks are meeting those challenges. And if they're not, then there'll be ways to know, well, here's what we need to focus on. The only agency in our town that has that is our Shreveport Fire Department, and it works extremely well over there. Everybody knows what their job is. There's a regulation for that. And it's important that the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office get itself in line with the 21st century. It's a group of law enforcement people from all different aspects of law enforcement. So I don't think anyone could complain, oh, that's the criminal defense, or that's a prosecutor, or that's the criminal justice system. It's all the folks together, and black and white folks. It's really a 21st century answer to our 21st century problems. So I think that that's one of the first things we would do. I would get rid of a lot of the deputies that are at the Caddo Correction Center. I would get rid of the cash bail. I would do my best to convince the judges that there's a much better way for the 21st century, so we don't need to have 800 people in jail waiting just for their court date, because the sheriff's deputies or the SPD officers haven't gotten the discovery yet to the DA, and so everybody's still staying in jail if they don't have the money to bond out. So that's a very important new thing I would like to bring in. That was a really wonderful and exciting period of time when that session came up with those solutions. It was, best as I recall, bipartisan. Everybody agreed that they would make a big improvement in our the way we address criminal justice. I agreed with every aspect of it. Criminal defense lawyers did, I think the judges did, the prosecutors did, and it was working well. But the problem is that for whatever reason, our country took a turn in a different direction and decided that they were no longer going to care about those aspects of our criminal justice system. They were going to go back to be warrior cops, and they were going to build more prisons and more jails and have more beds in them for more people that we're going to lock up. This is an amazing thing, but Louisiana is one of the top officers of all the 50 states. New York City has the most police officers per capita, 400. New Jersey has the second most police officers per capita, 354. Louisiana has the third highest per capita police officers. Now that tells you we've got enough policemen, and we know we fill up more jails than any other county or parish in this country. So that's not the problem. The problem is we don't have properly trained policemen. We don't have properly operated prosecutors. We don't have properly operated jails. The legislative officer just yesterday turned out a new report that the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office and a lot of these other sheriff's offices in the state have completely ignored the fact that they're supposed to be keeping track of the time that people are sentenced to be in their particular jails or prisons. But it turns out that for the last several years that they've tested and researched, nobody's been paying attention to that. None of those people even look at that. They look at the original sentence, they look at the original release date, and they completely ignore any credit for good time, any credit for people who have done advanced education that they get good time for, people who have worked on other projects for the while they're incarcerated. They completely ignore that. And that's wrong. People are spending more time in jail so that more money can be spent in the jail than they're supposed to be. So that's really an important aspect of what needs to be changed. Oh, it's a horrible thing that we've done to our children in this community. One of the things that I talk about at some of the other forums is the project back in 2019 to 2020 that a group of high schoolers spent time on trying to explain what they need to have done so that they can enjoy high school, so that they can be productive in high school, and so that they can move on from that. They spent a year doing that. They were an amazing group of kids. They did a survey of over 5,000 students in Bossier, Caddo, and Red River Parish. And these kids came up with the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 issues that they wanted to talk about was mental health. They said, you got to help us here. There's nobody we can talk to. We've got all this stuff going on in our lives, and then the pandemic hit, and they said, but somebody has to listen to us. They need to put more counselors in these schools. We have to have somebody that will have time for us, not one counselor for 1,500 students. And we need somebody that will pay attention to us, we can tell them what's going on at home, the hell that we're living in, that nobody listens to us. And 5,000 students responded to that particular survey. And everybody, Mr. Gilley and everybody clapped their hands and were so excited about this wonderful thing that these kids did. And then it trashed the whole report, I guess, in the wastebasket because nobody has heard from it since. I carry it around with me in my calendar to remind me, listen to these children. And it can't be just one, just the sheriff, SPD. It's got to be all. Another issue that just came up yesterday in the Louisiana Illuminator tells us that the Department for Families and Children hasn't even kept up with their phone system, that they have a third of the people who call in, because that's the only way you can report some sort of problem with kids, or kids could report, go unanswered. It takes 7 minutes. If you do get it, you just ring and ring and ring. Some people just give up. I know, I've done that, because after 6 or 7 minutes, nobody answers. I assume everybody's gone. So how many children are we losing track of in the system because Department of Families and Children's don't even listen to them? They don't hear the reporters. They don't hear the reporters from the schools and the doctor's offices and the other people, the police, who are supposed to be reporting to. And this is the third year they've taken, the legislative auditor people have taken them to task for that, and they've still done nothing. They still don't know how many they're missing. We're putting too many people in jail that don't belong in jail. 80% of the people in our jail are misdemeanor offenses. And they're mostly there because they don't have the money to bond out. The bondsmen are getting rich. Think that millions of dollars that across this state are being paid to bondsmen because these people can't afford $100 to get out on a $500 bond or whatever little amount it is. These people are trying to feed their families. They're trying to keep a roof over their head. They're working a couple of jobs. They get thrown in jail because they don't have the right traffic license information in their vehicle, or this or that or the next thing, some minor misdemeanor, not violent, they're still put in jail. And they have to sit there while we're paying for them to be in jail. Their families aren't getting any benefit of them working and helping them live. Everybody's getting angrier. We need to get rid of cash bail bond, and we need to get those 800 people out of jail. We can take those deputies who are jailers, put them to busy doing something else. We don't even mention the 224 beds that are used in Caddo Correction Center for people who are on work release. So, you know, there are all kinds of people that are doing all kinds of things. We need to get the Caddo deputies out of the FBI office and get them back to the Caddo Correction Center where they belong. Let the feds do their own investigating. We don't need folks over there doing the federal investigating and having an officer right next to the chief FBI agent in charge for Shreveport. There's just so much misplacement of assets. We have the assets. We don't need more police officers. We're already almost number one in the country for per capita police. We don't need more. We just need to assign them to do the jobs that really they're meant to do. Not be warrior cops, be guardian officers to protect us and keep us safe. We need to realign our assets. What I would do is what most of us women know is so important. We talk to each other. I can speak for myself. I'm not interested in having a new career here. I've already had enough careers in my life to keep me satisfied. But I have the knowledge to make some improvements, and that's what I would like to do. I will force these other folks to talk to me. I have made efforts for the last 30+ years to talk with the mayor, talk with a particular judge, talk with the DA, talk with the SPD officers. I don't ever get phone calls back. No one returns my calls. I have to subpoena the district attorney to come to court and answer, why do you let your assistant DAs continue to lie on the record in the courtroom? Because I could never get an appointment. I had to subpoena him to come in there. I had to subpoena just last week the SPD chief again because the discovery after 6 months is still not in the DA's office. My client has to still be incarcerated because after 6 months they don't have the 2 audio tapes that we need to see what we're going to do with these charges that are still pending. There's just a waste of money and waste of keeping people incarcerated because no one will talk to one another. They darn well will listen to me, or the public will know about it. Here's why we have 1,000 people in jail, because the discovery is not getting to the district attorney's office and the DA is not giving it to the public defenders or the other retained counsel. People have to learn to work together here. And they talk a good talk, but they are not walking the good walk. And we need to talk with the non-governmental agencies. There are so many good people here who are trying to do the right things, who are praying for the right things, but it's like we're all in our little silos and echo chambers, and nobody's really getting together to make any difference. We have to start talking to one another. And the problem is everybody's got to protect their own little thing here. It's all about, well, we need more money to do this over here. And, well, no, we need more money over here. Let's just talk to the people and see what do they want done in the first place. There's not enough interest in determining accountability, as I said before. Accountability. Why isn't the law enforcement folks, why aren't they getting discovery to the DA? Those are the kinds of things that are going to make a difference. I am one of those people that votes no anytime they want to have a tax increase. I have been in so many systems, in so many agencies, and I see nothing but waste and poor allocation of assets. They're not doing the job that they need to do with the assets they have. Why would we throw good money after bad? I would not promote any of those. Well, I have lived so many different places as a military wife. In Alaska, we didn't even have sales tax. So I've seen a lot of different systems. And, you know, I think that the sheriff's job in Caddo Parish, every parish may have a little bit different idea what they want their sheriff to do. Whatever it's prescribed by ordinance or statute, I will do it. I don't think it's my option and really promote either side of that question. It makes sense to have one centralized place where all the taxes can be dealt with at once. It makes sense to me, but I don't think it's a decision that I would make, so I wouldn't presume to tell the other folks how they need to do that. I think the main issue that really weighs heavy on my mind is the fact that nobody seems to be interested in looking into what's going on in the rest of our country. I am a research-oriented person. In law, I took cases that I had no idea what the rules and laws were about it. I did research. That's how I got to the Supreme Court. Everybody said, you got 10,000 cases, they're going to pick 75. Why do you think your case is going to be picked? Well, I knew that the judge had done wrong, that was clear, but I had to get the research, and that's what I'm good at. I get the research because I'm excited about it, I'm passionate about it. That's what I've done now for running this race for sheriff. My strength is my ability to research, take data, rearrange it, see how it applies to us, share it with other people if anyone's interested in talking, which they're not. But if I got to be sheriff, I could then have more of a position that they would have to listen to me. I could talk with other sheriffs in this parish. I could talk with other sheriffs in other states. There's so much we could learn if we would just start talking to one another instead of just living in an echo chamber where we hear the same thing decade after decade and nothing new. I have the passion for it. I'm blessed so far with the strength for it. I've got the experience. I have so many people that tell me, oh, we need a change. Please, Miss Gilley, run. We need a change. You listen to us. When I go out in the neighborhoods where there's not another political sign in view, I go to those doors, and those people are eager to talk to me. They're grateful that somebody actually came to their home and wants to talk about why they think they could be an asset if made sheriff for Caddo Parish. The people out there just living their lives. Those are the people that I want to talk to, and they want to talk to me. And they assure me they will be voting for me. You know, I think that's fair to say. Last time I ran, I had $2,500. Only 6 people made donations. And from that, I got over 32,000 votes. So I know how to manage money if that's their concern. I only had that small amount to spend, and I was able to master it well. Our mayor got $20,800 when he won his office last December. So I can know how to, you know, get the most bang for your buck, and that's what I offer the people to do. I hope that I will be having a chance to talk to a lot more people before Election Day and convince them of that. Thank you.